Peaceful Nick the Medium. Welcome to my live stream. Tonight I want to talk about how does mediumship work? How does it work? How do mediums connect to spirit? How do we know we're connecting to a spirit? What is it about certain people that makes mediumship come naturally? How come everybody's not a medium? I want to talk about all those things. Tonight, I also have a buy one, get one free special. If you book any mediumship reading, you will get one free. I'm just trying to fix my little bracelets here, tighten them up. Any 30 or 45-minute mediumship reading, if you book that, you get one free. Also, I have 20-minute readings at a discount price, so I have some mini readings available. I have evening and weekend appointments available as well. So, welcome in if you're just joining. I just got started. So how does mediumship work? If you pop in, please drop a comment in the chat so I know you're here. Hopefully we'll get some folks on here. I was telling a story earlier. Hi, Dawn. I'm glad you're here. I was saging my house earlier because my son has arrived to stay with us for about a month before he moves to his new home. And, you know, he brought all his stuff here yesterday from his other house, and I wanted to clear the energy, and my white sage here just was on more fire than it's ever been before. And it was like filling up the room with smoke, and it was so bizarre and so funny, and I was choking on the smoke. So, to clear negative energy, you can, if you don't have sage, I don't always use sage, but I have some right now. And so you just burn it, you just burn the little end of it, and it'll smoke a little. You don't want the whole thing on fire because that's bad. But usually just a little piece of it will burn. And then you, in a clockwise motion, you make circles in a clockwise motion. You can clear yourself. You can clear any negative energy from yourself, from any space, from any area. You can walk through your whole home with it. And when you do it, the most important thing is, as in any healing modality or mediumship practice, psychic, tarot, oracle, any of those, you want to set the intention of whatever it is you're intending to do. So, hi, Callie. So when you are saging in your clockwise direction, whether it's over yourself or over an area, or over another person, near another person, you don't want to burn anybody, always set the intention of removing and releasing any negative energy, removing and releasing anything that doesn't belong to you. If you're here, pop in and say hi. The comments boost me out in the algorithm. If you just want to put an emoji, that's fine. But just say hello. Hi, Jane. I'm talking about the sage and setting the intention being so important. Now, I was live earlier on another app, and I talked for an hour straight, and I'm feeling it. So I'm going to do my best to stay on for an hour. Yeah, Dawn, mine usually doesn't either, but today, for some reason, the corner of it got really, really inflamed, and I had to like bash it out. I use a candle lid, a metal candle lid, so it doesn't catch on fire. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So on this live stream, I want to talk about how mediumship works. So if anybody has any questions about how mediumship works, please put it in the chat. On my earlier live stream on another app, I was talking about how to connect with spirit, which we can do again if you guys missed that, how to connect and find your spirit guide. And the other two major things I talked about were the telepathy tapes and the CIA gateway process documents. So those are fascinating fascinating subject. So if you have any questions about those, ask. I just don't want to repeat everything that I said earlier for the people who were on my earlier live stream. So if you have any questions, ask. As far as the telepathy tapes, I believe you can find them on YouTube. Basically, it is I believe, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, they are telepathic communication reports from people who witnessed or from autistic kids or people themselves. So basically they're studying, it's a study of people who are on the spectrum and whether or not they have more telepathy than people who are not on the spectrum. And Mayim Bialik, who has a podcast here on YouTube, I recommend highly you watch her episode called Real or Hoax. It was just on a couple days ago. I don't get paid for her. Hi, Lori. I don't get paid by her. It was an excellent episode with Jeffrey Kripal, and it's about the telepathy tapes and other, metaphysical things about how science always, and it's so much of what I've said before, if you followed me for a while, science, there are materialist science who think, it's got to be three-dimensional to believe it. And then there are people who realize, the quantum world is really weird and we can't really explain that using material physics. So there's got to be something else, and that takes us into the realm of metaphysics and psychic and intuition and mediumistic powers or abilities. So that is what that Real or Hoax episode by Mayim Bialik is about, and it's excellent. So just so you know, I'm not the only person that believes this. There are many people who we're all awakening at the same time to these types of things. Also, the gateway process documents from the CIA, they studied remote viewing and psychic powers for decades, and they use it to, look in on other powerful nations to kind of see what they could see. So that is there's a channel here on YouTube called Third Eye Drops. Now, I know very little about this person. I just found them a couple days ago. So I'm not saying one way or another whether they're a good person or a bad person. I don't know anything about them. But the channel's Third Eye Drops, and he's been talking about it. But I'm sure there are other YouTube videos about the gateway process documents. So be careful when you are watching anything, anywhere, on any app or on any program, because you want to do your due diligence and make sure you're getting information that's not skewed to believe what the person wants themselves to believe and wants you to believe. For example, let's use UFOs, for example. There are people who report on UFOs, and they've already made up their mind that the UFOs are real, the UFOs are aliens, and that's that. And so all their reporting is skewed toward, this is a UFO, this is an alien from another planet, they're coming to get us. Now, if that's true, I saw a meme the other day that was absolutely perfect. I don't remember who posted it. That said, this is the slowest alien invasion ever, right? Like, if the aliens were coming to get us, they're taking forever because they've been here for thousands of years, according to reports. So you have to be careful and do your due diligence. All those drones a few months ago, they were just drones. The U.S. military is not going to let something like that come in around our secret places, our nuclear places, and just let them do whatever they want. That's not going to happen. We knew what those were. Maybe the general military people didn't know, but the higher ups and the people in the important places definitely knew. Kelly said, sometimes I send my higher self to talk to another higher self in the family. I feel it really helps. Absolutely. I do the same thing. Perfect. Trent said she just put Mayim's video in her history so she won't forget to watch. You will enjoy that, I believe, Trent. I think everyone that's here watching who has an interest in spirituality, mediumship, telepathy, watch that because it'll lead you to other things. So always do your due diligence whenever you're watching anything, reading anything, anywhere, whether it's in a book, on social media, or on the news. Make sure to find more information out. Make sure not to just believe it because somebody said it. I've done it. Everybody's done it. This is a time in this world where AI wreaks havoc because people make deep fakes, as you know, of certain people saying, doing certain things that aren't real. So we just have to be very, very careful about that. So watch the telepathy tapes. Watch Mayim Bialik's video about it. Excuse me. And then look up the gateway process documents. I'm sure there's videos. You are welcome. So I wanted to talk about how mediumship works. If anybody has questions about that, anybody who's new here, who's unfamiliar with my work, please let me know. It's telling me my stream bit rate is lower because we're having a storm. If I'm freezing, I'm sorry. Nobody else is here using my Wi-Fi. I have great Wi-Fi, supposedly. I'm doing everything I can to make it great. So, if you have any questions about how mediumship works, let me know, or anything else about how I work. What I do is I raise my awareness above my head. Any of you who are students, you've heard me say this before. I take 3 deep breaths. This is my process. Not everybody follows the same process. I take 3 deep breaths in and out, in and out. And then I raise my awareness. But before that, you need to make sure you're in a place free of distraction. You need to make sure that any dependents in your home that may need you are taken care of before you do this process. You need to make sure you will not be disturbed as much as humanly possible. You need to make sure your dog or cat's not going to jump up on your lap during this time. You need to make sure that you are in a place that is peaceful and your mind is in a restful state, especially if you're a beginner. Your mind needs to be in a restful state. Trent said, what are your strengths versus weaknesses with your abilities? Okay, I will answer that in just a second. And please put any other questions in the chat. So you take 3 deep breaths. You're in a place free of distraction. You kind of meditate in a way or concentrate on taking your conscious awareness. So you have to use your imagination when you first start. You have this consciousness, you have this soul, you have this spirit, you have this energy in your head, and you have to kind of imagine it lifting up above your top chakra here, all the way up, all the way up. You're lifting it up and you're expanding it out. You're expanding it out, you're expanding it out. And you are raising your vibration. So you kind of just have to convince yourself and tell yourself. Some people, it'll happen like that, very naturally. Some people have to practice doing just this part. Now there's more to it later. But once you raise your awareness up here, that's when you can invite spirit in. You can invite your guides in to do sitting in the power meditation, or you can invite spirit in to communicate with yourself. Like if you want to talk to a loved one in spirit yourself, or like Kelly said earlier, talk to her higher self with another person's higher self who's living. That's a very important point because you can do that. if you have an estranged relationship or a relationship you struggle with somebody in the human world, you can raise your awareness and communicate with their higher self as well, because maybe they're not easy to talk to in real life. You can invite your guides in, you can invite loved ones in spirit to come in. And then once you expand your awareness, you ask them to come into your awareness. And so at this point, when I'm doing my mediumship readings, I see someone, because I'm very visual, I 90% of the time see them. I see someone walk into the space. They walk right over here. The right side of your brain is the more creative, the freer, the more where you do mediumship psychic stuff on the right side. I did not know that when I started my mediumship. The left side's the more analytical side. They can come in on either side. Just 90% of mine are on this side. Occasionally I get somebody over here. So they'll come into your awareness. You may not see them. You may feel them. You may feel a shift in your energy. You may feel something tingle on your body, or you may hear a little flutter. You may hear words inside your head or outside your head. When you do this, prepare for anything to happen or nothing to happen. It's not always going to be some earth-shattering message. Sometimes it's subtle. And that's why so many people miss messages, because it can be so subtle, it's easy to second guess. I probably was getting messages my whole life and had no idea, because I have a very busy mind. And then when my first mediumship experience that I can point to and remember the date, it was extremely dramatic and undeniable. And so was the second one. So what are your strengths versus weaknesses with your abilities? My strengths, as far as my clairs, are claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairempathy, clairsentience, and clairaudience, I would say would be probably in there too. My weaknesses are the clear smelling and clear tasting, clairgustance and clairalience. Those are my weaknesses as far as my clairs. My weaknesses in general are second guessing myself, not trusting, letting my ego get in the way, having fear. That's my weakness. It's something I work on every single day, every time I do a reading. I have a little note here right on my desk, and it says, leave your ego at the door, stop thinking, allow the flow. If you doubt, spirit senses that. So I have this little reminder. So I'm a Post-it person because I was a teacher for 20 years. So I have all kinds of Post-its on my desk to remind me that there's some things that I need to work on, always. Things I need to remember. Things I need to, like I have another Post-it sticking on my little shelf here. It says, move your mind. So I need to remember to move my mind to spirit. Because sometimes if I'm in a rush, say a client emails me 3 minutes before a reading about another reading later in the day, but I won't have time in between, and I have to email them back real quick. Like they can't find their link or something. Sometimes it takes me out of my concentration, and I'll start my reading and I'll forget that I just did a meditation to move my mind, but I got distracted. So I'm human. I guess I'll say that's my weakness. That's my biggest weakness. Oh, Danielle, this is wonderful. I'm glad to see you here. Thank you for coming over. So, okay. I was a teacher for a very long time, and I absolutely love teaching. Okay, so keep that word in mind, teaching. However, over the years, technology and administrations have taken schools to a place in great inflation where, and I worked solely in private schools. I worked only in Catholic schools my whole career. I only worked at Catholic schools. So I can't speak to public schools because I've never worked in a public school. So I used to actually teach in my classroom and give tests, and the students got the grade they earned, right? And then over time, oh, so you'll understand this for sure. Over time, what has happened is they want them on their tablets. Be on your tablet. Be on your tablet. Give them an assignment on their tablet, and they're all using ChatGPT for all of their assignments, period. And there's no way to stop it. I mean, you can put a list of questions, say you have a geography test. I taught biology, astronomy, physics, chemistry. I taught all AP Environmental, AP Bio, all those sciences. Let's say you have homework and there's 10 questions on the homework. You just put it in ChatGPT, it answers them all instantly. Say only 8 out of 10 are right. You did your homework in 10 seconds. So it's gone, and the administration has, and I know this is totally off subject for mediumship, but it's important. Administrations have turned to holding their thumb on the teacher, making the teacher jump through hoops and do this whole dog and pony show to impress the administration and have very little to no accountability for the students. They want teachers up there having energy and and all day long, just blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, the students are sitting there and they're just giving them grades and there's no discipline. So that's what made me leave. I was teaching. So I moved from California to Florida, and I was teaching at a Catholic school here. And about 5 months into the school year, this happened last January, I was called into the principal's office and told that I couldn't be a medium and work at that school, which I said, well, I'm not willing to do that. And I left and never went back because I wasn't very happy being a teacher anyway, for the last several years. And I know with everything in my soul that mediumship is going to guide me for the rest of my life. And, so I would have never left on my own. I would have never just said, I'm going to quit teaching. I had to be forced to quit because I'm too practical, like it was a safety net for me once I started my mediumship. But I've been a medium for about 6 years now. So, great question. Trent, great question. Have you ever encountered a spirit that scared you? Never. Absolutely never. I don't believe in negative spirits. I don't believe in demons. I don't believe any of that exists. I think that, okay, I'll get to that in a second, Danielle. I believe that's true. Spirit, it's been guided by spirit for sure. I've never encountered a negative spirit. I've encountered spirit who have given me information about negative things they did as humans. That is hard to convey. So that's an important point. When you're doing a mediumship reading, anything negative that's coming in from spirit is to help the client or sitter start or continue their healing process. So, but that's why we have to do our own healing work. If I was a person, say 30 years ago, if I was that person then and I was trying to do this healing work, I may be able to do it, but I had a lot of baggage and trauma I was still dealing with in my 20s that I have worked through now. So when they say shadow work, I don't really like that term. What it should be is heal go to therapy, deal with your trauma. And, everybody has a dark shadow. Everybody has a past. Everybody has stuff. But if you don't do your work, you may misinterpret what's coming through from spirit and deliver it in a way that's more harmful than helpful. So when I had a person in spirit come through, it was on a live stream on Facebook or TikTok or something. I don't remember. And Medium Kathy was there. We were doing a live stream together, and the spirit came through and gave some very detailed information of something very bad they did to the person, the human person on the live stream. And it was for a very specific reason. Now, had I been 25 when I was delivering that message and hadn't dealt with all my trauma yet, I may have interpreted that in a very different way. I may have delivered that message in a very harmful way. But now that I'm more mature, I've gone through a lot of therapy, I've read a lot of self-help books, I've done a lot of inner work. I mean, it makes a huge difference. So if you see some people on social media giving information about negative spirits, they're negative, they're attached to you, it's a demon. No, that's either they are underdeveloped, they have not done their trauma work, or they're just scamming people for money, or some combination. Because no spirit is here to harm us. If they wanted to harm us, we'd all be gone, just like aliens. So that's my answer for that. So hello for everybody who's joining. Don't forget I have a BOGO readings, BOGO buy one, get one free readings for the rest of February. That will disappear in March. You can book it for any time after February, as long as you book it in February. Also, I have evening and weekend appointments available now, and I have mini readings for 20 minutes also. So Danielle said, thank you. I feel like I met you today for a reason. P.S. I've worked in the Philly school district as well as Catholic schools. Thank you for sharing. Yes, thank you, Danielle. And it's so interesting that you have the same name as my mentor. So funny. That made your name stand out to me when we were on Facebook earlier. So yeah, I think that everything happens for a reason. I found my mentor on YouTube. After my mediumship experiences started happening, and I'm like, I either need a CAT scan or I need to find out what's going on. And I scoured YouTube for mediums and found her there. And she was a smaller creator, but she resonated with me. And that's important. If you ever are going to develop your mediumship, you have to connect with the person who's going to teach you. If you don't feel a good vibe with them, now I'm not for everybody. I understand that. I don't want to teach somebody that's not vibing with me, because you're not going to learn, right? You have to trust your teacher. So whenever you're vibing with somebody and you feel like that's the person for you, then that's the person for you. If you're not, it's not, because it makes it, if you feel weird, yeah, you don't want to be there. Trent said, I always wonder what truly evil people go through when they transition, Hitler, Bundy, etc. Girl, I have contemplated this because, as most of you probably have experienced some type of trauma or abuse in your life in some way, form, or fashion. Most people have something. I am also a victim of some things that are terrible and traumatic. And so this is something I have wondered for a very long time, even before I was a medium. The answer, from what I can gather from my colleagues in mediumship, from my mentor, from my, the other people I follow, watch, listen to, books I read, and my own connection with spirit, what happens is, so the spirit world is one place. There's not a separate place for hell. It is The best way to describe it is there's compartments. It's not really like that though, but that's the best way we can understand it. When someone crosses over, at some point shortly after, they are met with guides, loved ones in spirit, other spiritual beings, depending on, who needs to greet them. They go in front of a council to see, what the heck happened. But when they have their life review, I've heard this described by several mediums. I've heard this described by near-death experiencers. I've heard this described in books. I've felt this in my readings when people are like, that person was so bad to me, how did they go to heaven? Because it's not heaven, it's the spirit world. So that's where people have to understand. It's the spirit world. It's where our soul lives. And the soul is pure love and peace, but the human is the one that does the stuff, the bad stuff. So when your soul leaves your human body, if you're an evil, horrible person, and you go to the spirit world, your life review is feeling all the feelings you made every single person feel in your life. So if people think of that as a punishment, then think of it that way. So somebody who did what the H word guy did that you mentioned, he's going to feel, I think it was 6 million plus 3 million Catholics. So 9 million people that he exterminated. He's going to feel all that fear, all that pain, all of that. And then he's going to have to, some cultures think he's going to come back as a worm, right? And have to live through all the different animals up and up and up until he figures it out. If he comes back as a human, he's going to have to, some people believe in karmic debts. Like, he's got a big karmic debt. He may be the victim of horrible atrocities in his next life. That's the other thing. Sometimes we're victims, sometimes we're perpetrator. We make deals and decisions and agreements in spirit in between our lives to come in, and sometimes we're the good guy, sometimes we're the bad guy. That's really hard to accept. The whole point is growing our soul to get closer to Source or God or the center of the universe, or however you define it. So that's the closest explanation I can get. I don't remember any of my past lives or lives between lives, and I have not had a past life regression or anything. I hope to within the next year. But that's my understanding. That's my simplified understanding of what happens. Great question. Carrie said, what do you know about the Akashic records? Have you ever tried to access them? I think that the Akashic records, for any of you who have seen me talk about our oversoul, I think it's like, oh, that's an old drawing. I drew the same thing. So I'm just going to draw. This is the same person in 3 different lives. Say this is 1762, 1882, and 1972. Same person. This is their oversoul. All of the information from every life they've ever had for thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of years if you were an alien on another planet. All of the information is here. So in my opinion, the Akashic records is just accessing somebody's oversoul with all the information of all their past and future lives. Because if you take this stack of cards, there's 50 or 60 cards here. Every card is a life someone lived, Or in our timeline, some of them are future lives. So these are your future lives, these are your past lives. Okay, you're somewhere in the middle. In our timeline that we are aware of. In reality, physicists agree with this. Look up block universe theory. That is a real physics theory. And in spiritual circles and belief systems, everything is happening simultaneously. So there's no life from 100,000 years ago and life in 100,000 years. All of these lives are happening simultaneously. So if you have your oversoul and all of these lives are happening simultaneously, all the information from every life you've ever had or will have is in your oversoul. That's my interpretation of how people access the Akashic records. I have not done that. It's not part of what I do for my mediumship readings because I have not been properly trained to do that. Eventually, I will become properly trained to do that, and I would love to do that. But right now, I don't offer that service. But if you're looking for that, I know other mediums that do. Just ask. I'll be happy to recommend them. Thank you, Kelly. Karma is karma the law of reciprocity? Well, Kelly, as you know, I don't really, to me, labels and different things like that aren't that important to me. Karma to me is a overarching idea of what comes around goes around. You know, do unto others as you do unto you. I just use the word karma because most people are familiar with it. You can call it anything you want, really. Whatever resonates with you. So, and I don't know if I even know what the law of reciprocity is. So, if you want to tell me, I'd be happy to learn what that is. Trent said, what if we atone for our mistakes in this life? Do we still have to feel the pain when we cross over? Ooh, let me see. I'm hearing from my guides that it depends on, they're saying, and they're saying it pretty loudly, it depends on how deeply you felt it in your atonement. Like, I'll give you an example. I said something that I shouldn't have said to my son a couple of years ago. And it was hurtful. What I said was selfish and hurtful. And I'm going to cry just thinking about it. As soon as I said it, and it wasn't an insult to him. It was not I was not insulting him or anything like that. It wasn't anything like that. But as soon as I said it, I knew I hurt his feelings, and I knew it hurt him badly. And I knew that it was very wrong what I said, and I should have never said it. And I apologize. I felt it very deeply, very deeply. That to me is probably a sliver of what I'll feel when I have my life review, because I cannot possibly understand, even as his mother who grew him in my belly, I cannot possibly understand how he actually felt in that moment. I can imagine it. I can feel bad, and I truly do, but I can't possibly know exactly how he felt. So I think atoning here is one thing, but I still think my opinion is we'll still go through those feelings, because we can't ever really know completely how somebody else felt when we hurt them in some way. That's my opinion. That's why I try to be nice. I try. I used to be mean. Like, me and my friends would not, we'd gossip and say off color things, in our 20s, as you do when you're dumb and you don't know things. Um, you know, I'm a Sag, so I'm fiery and I say whatever. I was raised by two Leos and had an oldest sister Leo, so uh and we're Italian, so that didn't help. Just blah 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 blah. But anyway, that's my opinion, Trent. Now, of course, I don't really know. I don't know what's really going to happen. I'm just hoping that I'm close. Thank you, Carol. Oh, Kelly. Oh, I don't know the answer. We should Google it. We should Google it. I mean, are there actual laws in spirit? I don't feel like they see it the same way we do because it's not three-dimensional there. Like when we have a hierarchy here. Some countries have class systems, some countries have hierarchies. The US kind of has a hierarchical class system, right? We don't say it that way, but we do. We have a hierarchy in our government. In spirit, it's not like that. It's just very, I think what I'm trying to say is there's no ego in spirit. We can't possibly conceive um, of being in a place without ego because all we're surrounded by is ego. And ego is a big thing for me and my healing and my study. And so, as far as, laws in spirit, laws are to control people and keep them from doing bad things, but nobody in spirit is doing anything like that. So maybe it's like guidelines, but it's known. It's like when there's unwritten rules to things, like you don't go to Disney World and say Mickey Mouse is ugly, right? It's like an unwritten rule. I know that's a benign example, but it's like an unwritten rule. Nobody's going up to Mickey Mouse and saying you're ugly, right? So I think in spirit, it's not like there's laws like we would think of them because it's pure love and peace there. That's how I look at it. Like you just know. You just know. Trent said, okay, it's not just about taking accountability. It's more about knowing and feeling the level of their pain. Makes sense. I just feel that intuitively, and I feel like that's what my guides were telling me when we were talking about it. So that's kind of my interpretation. Now, again, I don't remember my life between lives, and I don't remember my past lives. For now, I don't. For now, I don't. All right, any other questions? My voice is starting to get weak. Let me know. Good question, Danielle. I will be live Wednesday night again on YouTube, and I'm sure I'll be live on my other channels. I just haven't decided my schedule yet for the week. Danielle said, what is sleep paralysis? I know the scientific end, but why do I visually see my room exactly as it is, laundry piles and all? So you're probably astral traveling. So Danielle, if you watch some of my videos about science and mediumship, Our soul is non-local to our body. So our body is a three-dimensional machine. It's a meat suit. Our soul is a temporary inhabitant, and it can come and go anytime it wants. And when we're awake, for most people, our soul stays in our body. But when we're asleep, our brain waves literally change. Dun, 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 dun. And when we get to the alpha state, that's when like we can meditate super like amazingly. We can communicate with spirit. We can astral travel. That's your soul coming out of your body and just moving around the world and doing whatever it wants. It can go out to the moon. It can go to Alpha Centauri. It can go to the Andromeda Galaxy. Your soul can do whatever it wants. Move, 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 move. Go here, go there. So what's probably happening is your soul's coming out of your body because you're about ready to go on an adventure. Have you read, Danielle? I highly recommend, and everybody who watches my channel is probably so sick of seeing me say this. Read Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton. You can get it on Amazon for about $12, maybe $10. Screenshot it, write it down. This is about life between lives, and it explains so much of what you're asking about. Journey of Souls, Dr. Michael Newton. Trent said, what is your opinion of Amy Allen of the Dead Files? I don't know. I've heard of the Dead Files, but I have no idea what it is. Is it a documentary? Is it what is it? I don't know. I know nothing about that. I have never consumed any of that. Let me know. Now I want to Google it. Is it a show? I feel like it's a TV show. Any other questions? How about a collective card pull? Because I feel like. Any other questions? Let me know. Let's do a card pull from the Mystic Forest Oracle. You know what? No, I'm going to do Cosmic Energy Oracle. Did I tell you guys I bought a card deck that had so many typos I can't even use it, and the font was so hard to read. It's a shame. I should return it. I might return it, actually. Oh, that's awesome. The collective card pull is blessing. Blessing. Blessings are gifts from the universe. Receive and share them. I love this. So whatever we have to offer humanity, whatever we have to offer our community, don't go to extra lengths where you're going to deplete yourself, because we all have to live our regular waking daily life. But whatever energy you have to spare, whatever gifts you have to spare, bless your community. Because right now, all we can do is what we can do in our community. Unless you have a huge platform where you can reach millions of people, if you're just a regular person like me, you can reach this many people, and that's your orbit. Do what you can to help others. Blessing, and be grateful. A paranormal show where people are haunted by evil spirits. Oh, I won't watch anything like that. Helps them how to get rid of them, because she's a medium, so I hate to think that she was faking it all. Yeah, I can't watch anything negative. I can't. I get nightmares. My husband was watching some reruns of Game of Thrones the other night, and I had nightmares from that. And that's not even that bad. Yeah, I could never watch anything like that. The more I'm just full-time medium only, and the more I work from home and I'm alone 90% of the time, because my husband works out of the house. I have such a serene environment I've built here that I was always like, I always had nightmares if I watched movies about anything negative or shows about anything negative. But now it's like amped up to a million. Like I have to be very careful with any interaction. It's almost challenging in my life because like it's hard to be out in public very long. So, yeah, I don't know anything about it. And I don't believe in evil spirits um at all. I've never seen any evidence in any of the with any of the legitimate mediums I've worked with, talked to, been in development circles with. None of them have ever experienced an evil spirit. And I know there's a famous medium who talks about evil spirits, but nope, I've never experienced it, and I don't believe in it. So, thank you, everybody. Excellent questions, excellent discussion. I couldn't do these live streams without you guys, so you have no idea how much I truly appreciate it. Please like, share, and subscribe. It's free. Share my channel with any friends you think may be interested in. It helps boost me in the algorithm, and especially not knowing what's going to happen to the clock app. It's really important that I have you guys over here. And I love the questions, truly, truly. I just really couldn't do it without your questions. I will see you again live in a couple days, probably, maybe tomorrow, who knows. Yeah, I don't think they're evil. I think they're just trying to get people's attention. Good night. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Mwah. Love to everybody. Love, peace, and healing as always. I'll see you on the next live. Thank you so much. Bye. Everybody have a good day. Bye. 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 Thank you.